Mr. Griffith.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I know it's not you all's area, but I just finished chairing a hearing on the Maui wildfires and the electric situation there. And so I would just say that when you all are in conversations, public safety power shutoffs, whatever you all can do to encourage the utilities to put in safety measures to try to avoid, and we're not saying that it was all caused by them, the investigation goes on, but clearly there was some role played by the electric utility there. So anything y'all can do to encourage the utilities to do safety. I know it's not your turf, but it's what I've been doing all morning, and I apologize I wasn't here because this is a very important hearing also. Mr. Bresler, I think you have most, if not all of my customers, a few maybe TVA folks down in the deep southwest part of my district. But your regional transmission organization, PGM, which serves most of my folks, and much of the Mid-Atlantic, including the ranking member of the full committee and others, and a large portion of Appalachia, as we go through the process and more dispatchable generation plants are retired, what are the timeline projections for replacing the power from these existing fossil fuel facilities?
Well, that's the $64,000 question, sir. So
Yeah,
if
you
you look at the written testimony we submitted for the record, there's a lot that goes into that type of evaluation because there's a lot of uncertainties, right? And so in a case where there's a low level of replacement generation that actually comes on the system and the retirements are as significant as we think they could be, we could start recognizing some shortages as early as 2027, 2028. If we see a high level of replacement generation come online despite the potential for retirements we see coming, we could be reliable all the way through 2030 and beyond. So really, it all depends on how much of that generation that is in our queue. We have a queue that's almost the same size as MISO's, as Mr. Ramey had said earlier. It all depends on how much of that actually comes in service in a relatively expedient fashion.
All right, looking at the chart in your testimony on the policies that are causing power plants to shut down, barring some big change, what is the tipping point? When do we get to a point where we're not reliable? And I think I just heard you say 2027, but can you expand on that?
Well, it could be that early.
Could be.
It could be that early if, again, the pace at which replacement generation comes online does not accelerate.
Now, when you say that it could be as early as 2027, what about when we have significant weather conditions like we had before Christmas, where we got down to 3 degrees, probably lower than that in some parts of my district, but where I live, it got down to about 3 degrees, and I'm in the warmer part of my district. Would that accelerate that timeline?
Well, the analysis,
at least for temporary days?
The analysis takes into account
It does.
reasonably expected, extreme weather conditions that we would see in either the summer or the winter, and the winter has been more severe over the last decade plus, right? So it does take into account that type of situation. Again, we're working in other areas to improve our system's response to those types of conditions, such as gas-electric coordination, gas-fired generator performance, and those types of things as well.
Now, you all taking, somebody may have already asked this question, so I apologize because I was doing the other hearing, but have you all taken into consideration the plans for all these electric vehicles? Is that a part of your analysis that at least the administration thinks we're going to have by 2030?
Yes, that is something that I actually highlighted in my opening comments.
Okay, sorry I missed
no,
it.
I'm not sorry, and also something that's baked into our load forecast to the best that we can anticipate it. And so we will continue to update those forecasts either direction, depending on how things transpire. But based on our look out up to 15 years into the future, yes, we do bake that into our load forecast.
And Virginia specific, right now at least, the policy is that we're going to not sell anything but electric vehicles after 2035. Is that baked in also?
Yes, to the extent that we can go out that far. 2035 is pretty far out in the future.
Stretching it, yeah.
Yes.
All right, I appreciate that. I know you submitted comments on the proposed, or your organization did, on the proposed greenhouse gas power plant rule. What were your interactions with the EPA like in the pre-rulemaking process?
We did have some offline discussions with EPA. They did reach out and request some conversations with us, so we did provide some input along the way. But as I said earlier, the EPA is obviously under no obligation to take our input in finalizing a rule.
Did they seem concerned about grid reliability, or was that just one of those things they didn't care about?
I would certainly say they understood our concerns.
All right, I can't ask for any more from you from that. I understand it's a difficult situation. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.